This segment, we're going to talk about how to recruit participants. Okay. First and foremost, before you even call a potential participant, you need to make sure you have the protocol down pat. At the very minimum, the inclusion-exclusion criteria, the duration of the study, the information about the investigational product or device or objective, the PI's information, and compensation. These are the primary questions that a person is going to ask you once you approach them about participating in a clinical trial. So at the end of the day, clinical trials don't work unless we have participants to place in them. Some sites are designed where they have a recruitment group, and these people's daily tasks are to find potential participants, reach out to them to assess whether or not they want to participate. And then sometimes this responsibility falls on the study coordinator or the PI. So it just depends on how the site's standard operational practices are in place. With that being said, you don't want to call a person and ask them if they're interested in a clinical trial, and they proceed with a question and you don't have, especially when it's related to safety, and you don't have a response. So if you have access to the protocol or the informed consent, and you already have some insight of what the known potential adverse events are, have that in the back of your mind, because I guarantee you someone is going to ask you the question, and your readiness to respond to these questions can be the difference between whether a person decides to participate. If you don't know how long the study is going to be, if you don't have a minimal background of what the goal of the investigational drug or product is, why should that person trust you enough to risk their health and put their time and efforts on the line to participate, and you don't have the basic information? So, and then you got to understand, depending on your the demographics of the person, their relationship with clinical trials and their relationship with healthcare. So if there's already a ingrained distrust with either one of them, you want to make that person feels like their safety is your number one priority. So even as a recruiter, you want to make sure that you're not even proposing the study to a person you can see on the surface that does not qualify, just to get people, just to say you met your quota, or just to say, I've got X amount of people to say yes. Remember, even as a recruiter, even if you don't have direct contact with that participant, your objective also is safety first. So if you know just from talking to the participant that although they might be on, let's take the drug metformin. Typically, it's a diabetes medication. But some people, or I should say females that have polycystic ovary disease, may also be taking metformin. So just because the patient is on a required drug don't mean they have the required indication. So make sure that you investigate that they have the minimum requirements before they come in for a screening visit as the recruiter.